Every small business, growing business, scaling business goes through different phases. We've all been there. And it seems like there is a ton of information out there when you're starting your business or when you're scaling your multi-million-dollar firm. But what about the rest of us that are in the messy middle? Welcome to the Breakout Moment. This podcast dives into those micro moments that take you from point A to point B. Guests on this show are going to show you those things that they did that really moved their B2B businesses forward. And even if you're not a B2B business and you're just small and scaling, whether you've got no employees and scaling to one employee, or whether or not you have 50 employees and you're scaling to your next 50, this podcast is the perfect resource with interviews with other business owners that talk about the lessons that they learned along the way, and we give you actionable, real tips, not theories, on how to scale your business. So nothing is off the table when it comes to scaling a business, whether we're talking about HR, we're talking about pay, we're talking about marketing, advertising, you name it, we're going to dive into it here. This is the Breakout Moment, and I'm your host, Christina May. Let's get started. This episode is sponsored by Genesis AEC, Steel Toe Communications, and this episode is also sponsored by Illuminate. Hi, Stacey.
Hi, Christina.
How are you?
Good.
Good. Welcome to the inaugural episode of the Breakout Moment.
Here we are.
Yep.
Let's
talk about how we got here.
Yeah.
So you and I have known each other for a little while now.
Mm-hmm.
So for those that don't know us, let's start off with you.
Sure. So Stacey Holsinger from Steel Toe Communications. I've been in business for 5 years now. I used to work for an engineering firm for a couple years, then a mechanical contractor running their marketing department, and then I went into business right after COVID, like a lot of people did. And we focused on social media marketing, website copywriting for the most part, but mostly branding. Mm-hmm. So in the contractor space, so we serve subcontractors, small GCs, vendors, and suppliers.
Awesome.
Yeah, and what about you?
Okay, so for those that don't know me from the previous iteration of this podcast, Christina May, I own Illuminate. We are a RevOps marketing and training company. We started out as a marketing firm 13 years ago, and I've always just loved numbers, which sounds weird coming from a marketer, but I love the spreadsheets, a little less on the creative side.
Yeah.
And I remember the breakout moment for me in my career was walking into this management meeting, and I used to dread my management meetings, like hated them, because everybody just looked at me as red on, paper, basically. You're just an expense. We can't justify this, blah, blah, blah. Even though, I'd spend hundreds of thousands of dollars, marketing dollars to generate traffic in the home builder building space and in the construction space. And my world changed the day that I brought, basically analytics into play, where I was able to go, I spent this, the number of people clicked on this, these people came out, they visited, these people purchased. Here's your return on investment.
Yeah.
And the whole room got really quiet. Whole room full of men, by the way, got really quiet. And that was my moment where I went, oh, this is it.
Yeah.
This is where I go from feeling like crap to feeling like, my job's worth it. And then I build a company around that.
Right.
So, so 13 years later, we leaned really heavy into RevOps about 5 years ago, which is revenue operations.
I was just
for people that don't know what that is.
Yeah.
Where we really take siloed pieces of an organization. So marketing, sales, service, ops. If you have an ERP, if you're a manufacturer, things like that, we tie all those systems together so you have a single source of truth for reporting. And then, our marketing background comes into play, because when you have the cycle of life reporting, I can actually tell you what worked, and I can tell you what didn't work, and I can tell you what sales efforts are actually producing the right things. And sales can't say it's all marketing's fault anymore. I'm still a marketer at heart. So that's what we do. And, podcast wise, how we came together through the industry. Obviously, we both work in B2B, construction heavy, manufacturing heavy. I call it, the beautiful, boring industries. But we also work outside of that a little bit, more so in the B2B space. Yeah. And I really found kind of like you two of us were just kind of kindred spirits, but you had a podcast, I had a podcast, mine had gone on hiatus because of life, and yours the circumstances had changed.
Yep. We changed a little bit our schedule. I had a podcast called the Morning Huddle Construction Show with Chad Prinky, and both of us started our businesses at the same time. And then, we're just going in two different directions. Beautiful, great directions, by the way. Chad's business is doing great. It's blooming and blossoming all around the U.S., and it's just that time to, go our separate ways. And now we're bringing this locally. A lot of stuff has changed because the podcast that we did was when LinkedIn Live was like a popular feature, So we did a lot of those.
Live on LinkedIn.
Yep, we did a lot of those. We did over 100 episodes over 4 years. It was a lot every Tuesday. And we had a really good community, mostly in the DMV, but we had global reach. We had people join us from other countries. We had so many great guests. So it was a wonderful experience. And now we're bringing this locally. I also helped start MCCEI's first podcast, which is still running strong. I help them with finding their audience, and MCCEI, by the way, is Maryland Center for Construction, Education, and Innovation. So their podcast, they have two now. They have Build Your People, which is mostly focused on HR stuff, but I helped with Build Your Path, and their audience surrounds parents, students, to try to promote trade opportunities. So if any young person or career changer is interested in the trades, they would just listen to somebody's story that's, already working in the field or in the office position. So they're still going strong. They've provided so much value for someone that's interested in a specific position. So that's been great too. And then what was your podcast built to?
It was Built to Market. Yeah. So we were doing podcasts and production work for clients. You're actually in the studio in our office right now. And this was something that kind of developed out through COVID because we needed a safe space to create content. And, just the in-person events just, as we all know, kind of blew out. They just didn't exist anymore. I feel like COVID was the prime time for the webinar. Like so many webinars.
Yeah, we're burnout.
We're so burnout on webinars. But this space got converted into a studio, and it stayed a studio space. And it was really, all of those endeavors were really successful for our clients. And, kind of like the cobbler's kids don't have shoes, typically as you don't work on your own business. We can talk a lot about that in another episode. It can be more like therapy. But I decided, okay, I'm going to do a podcast. I'm going to give this a shot. Totally different format. Ran a short run of episodes, was really much more successful than I thought it was going to be. And it was just me. No guests, and I will tell you the prep work involved to do a solo show, I had no idea.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I mean, hours of work.
Hours of work. What people don't think about if you're thinking about starting a podcast is you have to be consistent. You have to find guests, you have to book them, which if you have a great network, that's not hard to do, which we already had that network. Thank God for all of our years networking.
Yep.
But
it finally paid off.
Yeah. But if people don't know you, you're kind of cold calling them and pitching, like, come on my podcast. And
if you don't have an audience yet, it's a really hard pitch. So I decided to do the solo show thing. Really enjoyed doing it, but it was an incredible lift. And when you're running a company and doing all the things and enduring COVID and a whole bunch of other things going on in your life, it's not sustainable.
And you're not getting paid for your podcast.
Oh gosh, no. No, this is a labor of love.
Now, I think people look at these big podcasts like Joe Rogan and stuff like that, but when you're in a niche market and you're just starting out, like you gotta prove yourself.
Yeah.
And you gotta prove the audience numbers and all that, and that takes time.
It does. It's consistency. If I was to give anyone listening to this, if you're looking for some tidbits on, if you're even thinking about doing a podcast, you need to understand really the commitment that it takes, and for solo versus guests, how hard it is to do on your own, how hard it is to do when it's multiple people. It is going to cost a little bit of money, the equipment. I mean, you can get started with your phone if you want. And please, if you're a fail fast, do it. Mm-hmm. I'm a type A perfectionist. Obviously, a little bit more goes into the setup.
Yeah.
But you learn a lot. And I think it's one of the things, too, that if you put in the time and the consistency, it's a really great space to reach audiences. Yeah. So let's talk about this one, what we learned in our old ones, and then what we changed for this podcast and what people can expect in upcoming episodes from us.
Yeah.
So I think the first thing, biggest change, obviously, on my side, I went going from a solo show to a guest show.
Yes.
And I will tell you already, it's 10,000 times easier for me. So that was a learn.
Good.
It's not, I used to have these elaborate scripts and all the research and everything. And it's not that you don't have that. It's a different kind of research with a guest.
Yeah.
But I feel like the flow is a little bit more natural, etc. So you can expect that with this show. You can expect it to be in 20 minutes. We've learned 20 minutes is the sweet spot. So we try really hard to stay within 20 minutes. So whether you're driving,
non-negotiable.
No,
We're gonna hit it.
Nope, none. I'm not doing long form.
Yeah.
Sorry. It loses my attention. So I'm not going to create something that loses my attention.
Yeah.
But 20 minutes is about the average commute, or you're driving to a job site, or you're driving to, a meeting, etc. It seems to be the happy place.
Yeah.
To keep, your attention. And I think the big thing too, this comes from my last podcast. It was really important to me to give a lot of value. I think one of the things that we both hit upon was this real need for actionable content for small business. Now, when we say small business, like our small businesses don't feel small, but the classification of small business is insane.
Yeah.
It's 500, 800?
Yeah, 500 or less employees.
What?
So I don't know how they do that, but that's how they classify it. So
yeah. So, you may be huge in my mind, and you're still considered a small business.
Right.
But you go through these growing pains, and I feel as for the last 13 years, one of the things that I got really frustrated with was there was a ton of content out there on how do I start my business. Cool. But then you get a couple years in, and you're like, all right.
What do I do?
What? Now what? Because all of the thought leadership content is coming from big names, big Fortune 500s, Fortune 1000s, publicly traded companies. I don't have those resources. Right. Most people I know don't have those resources. And I don't, that's just not applicable. It's great theory, but how does that apply in my business? Tell me what works and tell me what doesn't work, and stop wasting my time.
Yeah.
And I think maybe that's the biggest thing for this podcast for me.
Yeah.
What about you?
So I think it's unique. So so you were talking about scaling your business and stuff. There's so much pressure I've noticed, because I've been in business for 5 years, to scale my business. I don't want to scale my business. You are, to a certain extent.
To a point.
And then there's other business that really want to scale, but they are actually the minority. But we are connected with a lot of businesses that want to scale or have scaled a little bit, or, different scale lengths or whatever you want to say. And there'll be guests on our show, which will be really fun and interesting to see. And scaling could be just adding a new service and increasing revenue, or rehiring or making a whole change in leadership, or, strategy, or there's so many different ways to scale. It's not always with people, or even revenue. It could just be a different market, right?
Oh, absolutely. I think a pet peeve of mine is actually when people focus on headcount. That is such a vanity metric, and it actually shows me that you really don't know what scales a business, because all you're telling me is the number of employees you have tells me, oh, you've got one heck of an overhead number. That doesn't actually mean that you're running a successful business, the number of people that you have. So, I mean, and with AI, we're in the age of do more with less. And we're always in the age of do more with less, but now we have this new tool that we've been working with for a couple of years now that's really making an impact. So to your point, scale is an individual lifestyle choice. It's one of the first things when I talk to other business owners. It's a lifestyle choice. And you mentioned our business as far as scale. Yes, I have employees. We've scaled up and down over the years. But I have always made it a point to tell people my goal with Illuminate has never been to blow up into this 50, 100-person organization, because I don't want that. I don't want to deal with the pressure of that day in, day out. That's not my end goal for the company. I would rather focus on the impact and keep the team smaller. Yeah. And that is truly a personal choice every business owner makes. And I really hate that we shame business owners on that decision.
I know. It drives me nuts.
Drives me nuts.
Yeah. The past 5 years, a lot of conversations for me. When are you going to make your first hire? When are you going to do this? And I'm like, do I have to? No. And then I would have those conversations with other business owners, and they're like, no, you don't have to. And it doesn't mean I don't have employees. I have partners I work with. So when I have large projects, I have partners that I trust, that we've been doing it for years, before 5 years, and we team together to produce whatever we need to produce for our client that's great quality. So there's just different ways of scaling and doing business and getting the job done. So I'm excited to have a mix of guests coming on. Yep. So speaking of that, I can maybe tease some guests.
Yeah, let's talk about some of our guests.
So this podcast is based in Frederick, Maryland. So we have, Frederick is booming over here. We have a lot of businesses moving here.
We do.
It's crazy. We have, I won't share with who yet, but we have a contractor that just opened shop and brought their business to Frederick. So they're expanding. Would love to learn why they chose Frederick and what they're expanding on and growing. We have another mechanical contractor. I've known them forever. Anyone that's followed me knows exactly who I'm talking about. And they're classified as small business. I always was in charge of their pre-quals and everything, but they are very not a small business. They're one of the largest mechanical contractors, definitely in the Mid-Atlantic region. And their company culture is so great. I mean, they have the best tenure people that stay there forever.
Love that.
So just recently, I think they're celebrating their 50th anniversary. But what's unique and what I would love them to talk about is they've been a family company forever. And this is the first year, at least last year, I can't remember. They're bringing employees into the ownership. So that's awesome.
That's going to be a fun conversation. Because so many of our companies that we work with, especially in the B2B space, it's a family affair. It really is a family affair. So I think that's really important to kind of dive into. What are the dynamics? What does that look like? Because you don't see a lot of this conversation out there. So that's exciting. Yeah. That's really exciting.
A lot of people right now in at least our industry are retiring. So they're really trying to be really strategic on planning 5 years in advance of, are they selling the company? Are they going to make it an ESOP, which is really popping up a lot? And a lot of people, I was talking to my dad the other day. He's like, what the heck is an ESOP? It wasn't a thing back then.
I know.
So those are really popping up with contracting.
It's beyond contracting.
That's what I figured.
It's a much bigger trend.
Yeah.
I can't wait to dive into that. So, we have some interesting guests coming on. So, I think I'm excited to, take what we've learned and really pull together something that, small business owners, directors, somebody who's working even within a small business can, you can look at these unique stories, see what the challenge was, how they met that challenge, and, walk away within 20 minutes. My hope is you not only walk away feeling good about like what you heard and it was entertaining and but you actually get something actionable out of it that you can take back and implement within your business. Not something like, oh, that's a great theory, but there's 80,000 steps to that, and that is only maybe 20% applicable to my business, or, well, I don't have an entire marketing team inside, or I don't have an entire ops inside, or I don't even know what RevOps is, or we don't have an ERP, or whatever those things are. I'm really hoping that these stories, that we share from our guests can really highlight what those little breakout moments were. And, because I really do truly feel it's a string of moments. It's the consistency of those moments is really what pushes us forward. Yeah. So I'm excited.
Me too. It'll be fun.
It will be fun.
Yeah. And I will be behind the scenes, by the way. I'm just here for an episode or two. Yep. I will be behind the scenes. I'll be securing the guests, and I will be, navigating some of the production of the show. So I'm excited for that.
I'm so excited to have a partner in that, because I love being out front.
Yes. Doing
the research, talking to the guests.
And that's one of the main reasons we got together. I love being the creative behind the scenes. And you're the analytic person. And we're a great match. We're the yin and yang.
Yeah, we are. We absolutely are. So I'm so excited. Sometimes the universe just works.
Yep.
So. Yeah. All right. Well, we will see you on the next episode of the Breakout Moment. This episode is sponsored by Genesis AEC. Genesis AEC, where science meets the built environment. As an ENR number 5 ranked firm, we provide a single point of accountability for life sciences and advanced manufacturing. We integrate architecture, engineering, and construction with specialized CQV, asset management, and sustainability to deliver high-performance facilities nationwide. This episode is also sponsored by Steel Toe Communications. Steel Toe Communications builds marketing from the field up, using real projects, real crews, and real results. They help construction owners attract the right people, tighten up their messaging, and build long-term trust with marketing that reflects how their company actually operates, not something pulled from a template. And this episode is also sponsored by Illuminate. Illuminate empowers businesses with AI-driven marketing, revenue operations, and CRM implementation and training to drive sales growth and strengthen customer engagement. If your business is navigating the messy middle and you're ready to grow with purpose, with a partner that understands B2B business marketing and operations, visit illuminate.com to connect.